So this was requested by a few people, so I will record it so that people can go back and watch it at any time. But essentially, it's a really important part of crypto that a lot of people don't ever really speak about. So of course, we should definitely touch on this because I lost a lot of money to a scam in 2021 with NFTs. I lost like 30 grand in just like instantaneously by clicking the wrong links and making a mistake. So yeah, it can happen to everyone. And so it's best to always be prepared with security and safety of your cryptocurrency wallets and processes and exchanges that you're using and all those types of things. So there's a few topics that I want to discuss. These are just the dot points. Obviously, if you have any questions, please either unmute at any time or put them in the questions chat, in the chat or the voice channels, and I will get through to you with them at the end. But obviously, everyone should be practicing good management of wallets and essentially like exchanges that you're using, right? Like we saw FTX literally steal everyone's money last cycle. We've seen Luna go from like lose 99% of its worth like inside a day. So practicing good management skills of your money is so important when you're dealing with crypto. So the first one is obviously wallet size. Now, if you're someone that has a little bit more money, then obviously this is probably more important to you because you need to make sure that your wealth is stored in safe and secure places. So we'll speak about some of those strategies down below. If you're more on the small wallet size, then it's obviously less important. However, all money is important to individuals, so always be aware of that. But obviously something that I like to do is I like to distribute my wealth across multiple sort of places so that if one is compromised, then ideally you're not losing all of it. So for example, I have majority of my spot portfolio on CoinSpot in Australia. SwiftX is equally as good, if not more secure than CoinSpot. CoinSpot hold all of their cold storage. They hold cold storage and SwiftX does. They buy their distribution of their tokens. So it always pays to actually know what exchanges do with the crypto that they own. Since obviously FTX didn't own any of their particular crypto and blah blah blah. So for me, it's important knowing what CoinSpot and SwiftX do. So that's where I hold the majority of my spot portfolio, it works out to probably be about 60% of my worth. I usually do rotate my profits, and that's another strategy. I might put that down below. I always rotate my profits, back to spot because that's just good management of your profit taking, right? And you want to make sure that you're accumulating wealth over time. So yeah, distribution, I like to separate it across multiple wallets. So that's why I run 2 leverage exchanges. I have majority of my leverage on Blowfin, but then I do have a little bag on MEXC as well. Always good to have those separate as well. I obviously run multiple memecoin wallets. Once I do have a memecoin wallet that starts to get to a pretty crazy number, I like to rotate some out of that into either my Phantom wallet or into another wallet that I prefer to have. When you're using all of these bots as well, that's probably a really good point. You want to make sure that you are practicing good practice with your storage of your seed phrase and your private keys and those sorts of things, which we'll talk on very shortly. So obviously, I like to use I like to vet all of the bots and stuff before I obviously use them, before I ever share them with you guys or share them on YouTube, all those sorts of things. So Pepe Boost, I've spoken directly to the team. They're amazing. They're based out of China, I'm pretty sure. So they, I've had no problems with that bot at all over the past sort of 10 months. Obviously, there's other bots out there, like the BullX UI can sometimes be a bit annoying. I have heard some things that sometimes the BullX team in the past has rugged and that sort of stuff. So that's why I like to rotate my profits off BullX a bit more frequently compared to other bots. Whereas all the other bots that are in the server, guys, are very well established and can be trusted as well. Now, this one here is a really important point. So for me, I actually don't hold anything off chain. The only thing I would consider, so in other words, cold storage, right? So anything like on a ledger, right? A ledger or a Trezor, whatever you want to buy. Those are pretty much the same. But if I was holding assets long term, so if I was looking to hold Ethereum, Solana, or Bitcoin longer term, then I would very much consider holding it off chain in a cold storage wallet that is protected somewhere in my house or my apartment, obviously. However, for me, I I haven't got to this stage yet because I probably will liquidate at least 90% of my crypto holdings this cycle, just then to obviously reevaluate what I want to do in real life with like distribution of my wealth after that. So it is important to maybe consider, if you do have a larger wallet, then perhaps having a ledger and putting some Bitcoin on there for long-term sort of wealth, guys, is probably not a bad idea. So I'd highly advise that as well. DEXs and SEXs, so centralized exchanges and decentralized. So obviously the centralized sort of stuff is obviously your CoinSpots or your SwiftX or your Binance or your KuCoin, your MEXC, those sorts of ones, right? They're all your sexes, and Blowfin is there as well. So making sure that you track actually all of your wallet transactions, because something like MEXC does get rid of your transaction history after 3 months. So that's something to be aware of. Whereas your DEXs are all on chain, so you can go to the blockchain and track all of your transactions there. But good practices around these sort of wallets and private keys is just making sure that you hold the actual key details, the APIs, those sorts of things off chain as well. Write them down in a book or spread them across your house or your apartment, okay? And that's just good process, again, for this sort of stuff as well, right? So making sure that you have your private keys stored elsewhere, your seed phrases for all your wallets stored elsewhere, so that, and split it up too, because if someone obviously, like if you live in a safe place, you could probably put it all in one piece. But if you don't live in a safe place, do split up your seed phrase maybe into 3 or 4 different pages, and then that way you can spread it across the house and be nice and safe. So for me, yeah, I keep all mine off chain. I keep all my wallets on a Excel spreadsheet. For tax purposes, but also for tracking, which we'll talk about shortly, but also just so I can keep an eye on how I'm tracking and the security of it as well. Now, obviously, tracking is really important, guys. So for me, I like to track my wealth over time. So I've been tracking it for over a year now, I think. And I like to just keep all of my wallets streamlined. So that's like everything. Like that's from even like 6 months ago when I was still holding some Blur, all the way through to all the different bots that I use for Sui trading, for Tron trading. I like to keep an Excel spreadsheet with all of those wallets and then how much is in those wallets every day. So I don't do it on a routine base, but you could do it weekly, you could do it monthly. I just do it whenever I remember to track my wallet. So that also keeps you aware of how you're actually going with your crypto trading as well, whether you're actually succeeding or whether you're actually not succeeding. It allows you to analyze what's going on, where maybe you want to move some money from, maybe you've got too much money in spot and you haven't got enough on chain to maybe have some fun with meme coins or leverage, those sorts of things. So tracking is an important part of crypto. So I've been tracking for a long time, and I'd highly advise that you do that. And then within that tracking spreadsheet, I then have all my wallets stored on there for tax purposes and for my purposes as well. Now, managing multiple wallets, yes, it's a pain. And particularly with all these browsers, right? Like you might have Phantom or MetaMask or Coinbase or Xverse if you're on Bitcoin. You might have obviously even some other chains that have their own sort of wallets as well. Magic Eden obviously have a wallet too for their upcoming airdrop. So it is quite a challenge, and making sure that you spend the time writing those seed phrases down and storing them off chain or off your computer, really, ideally. They should be stored in a book somewhere at your own house. Now, it is important to have multiple wallets at the end of the day, like I said before, because if you are someone that is a bit more of a high net worth individual, then making sure that you spread your wealth across multiple wallets is probably just good practice, right? Because at the end of the day, that way you know that if one wallet gets compromised, you're not going to lose everything, okay? So that's just good practice at the end of the day. Now, tax is really important, guys. I know here in Australia, tax is super important. So being extremely aware of the legal implications. I'm currently going through this. That's why I have been a little bit more absent at the moment. I'm trying to sort out my tax from the past and the present and into the future around a different sort of process. So for me, it's very important that you do understand the tax implications that you're in, and that you do take some profit off the tables to pay for your tax last financial year. We had a really good last financial year, and obviously if you're in Australia, that's mid-year, but obviously in America and stuff, that's coming up as well. So yeah, being aware of and having some profit off the table, guys, and having that in fiat in the bank to cover tax or to cover an accountant cost, those sorts of things is super imperative if you do want to succeed in crypto and you have made a lot of money. So always make sure that you do take some off the table to make sure that you're aware of your tax and you can pay your tax, right? The last thing you want to be doing is having all this money on chain, then you lose money to a scam, or you lose it to a drainer or a meme coin rugs, whatever it is, and then you lose all your money, you don't have any money to cover the tax where you have made profits during that same financial year. So always have a tax management plan as well, guys. Just some due diligence as well. Now, obviously, I don't ever send DMs, so please obviously be aware of that in the Discord. I know that there are many impersonators of myself and other people out there, so always be aware of that. Always check with me in the group first, or you can message me on Twitter directly. That's just the Greeny Trades one on Twitter. There's probably the best two places to contact me directly. But yeah, avoid clicking links on X, guys. Always like vet the links. Okay, this is how I got drained last cycle. I clicked on a phishing link, and that pretty much drained my whole wallet where I had a lot of money in it. So yeah, being like doing due diligence as well is really important. Okay, and Discord and websites as well. Always be aware of that, particularly with these meme coins. Like particularly with the websites and stuff, just don't click. Like I get so many DMs every single day from people saying, hey Greeny, buy this, like click on this and blah blah blah. So I just delete them, guys. It's just good practice. Delete those particular links, and then that way you'll be nice and safe. Revoking wallets was a massive thing last cycle. If you were in NFTs, that's always good practice as well. I think it's revoke.cash you can go to, and that essentially what you're paying, and it's on Ethereum obviously mainly, but what you're doing is you're revoking the access for those websites or those minting processes minting websites to access your wallet directly. So that's really important as well. Do go back and check your previous wallets, or in my case, maybe start some new wallets, guys. And then that way you don't have your wealth in these wallets that were connected to so many sites last cycle. I remember it was crazy, guys, with NFTs, like minting and flipping stuff and then looking for those gains on OpenSea and whatnot. That was a good time to be alive. But yeah, practice good safety always, guys. This last 2 points, obviously, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. But yeah, rotating profits back to spot. Now, this is critical, right? Like as we approach this time where you can sort of top blast into a lot more things, because traditionally we run up a lot harder right now in cycle history. It's really important that you do have a plan to take some off the table. Don't run up a portfolio from 5K to 10K or 10K to 100K or 100K to a million, right? On chain, and don't take and not move your profits to spot or even into fiat. Okay, make sure you have a plan. Make sure you take 5-10% clips of profit over time, and that is secure. Like that's security and safety, because then that means your downside risk is far less. Okay, if we obviously or once we do get to the peak of this cycle, you want to making sure that you have been taking profits along the way, and then you can start to exit once you maybe still feel that you're euphoric, or the timeline's euphoric, or price is getting to some unimaginable sort of levels. So rotating profits back to spot is a massive thing for me. And like I said in yesterday's stream too with Craig, I probably take profits on Solana at 260, guys, at all-time highs. So, and again, I was in at anywhere from $17 to $30. So I'm very much over 10x on my first sort of accumulation. So for me, that makes makes so much sense to take some profits off the table, like out of spot and into fiat as well. So do have a plan, and don't worry, we'll be talking about this. There's a lot of experienced heads in the Discord and a lot of experienced traders. So we'll be all talking about this moving forward over the next 3 to 6 months to 12 months. Whether we last 12 months, I don't know. Again, like I said recently, I probably lean in the favor that we top out Q1, Q2, probably don't make it to Q3. But again, you never know. We'll wait and see with what the market does. So I hope that just gives you really good insight into the wallet security and safety, guys. If there are any questions, I'll answer them now. But obviously, I've recorded this so you can watch it back at any time. So yeah, there's no questions in the chat. If that's the case and no one wants to unmute and ask any questions, then I'll have some breakfast, guys, and then I'll come back and I'll start looking for some trades. I might jump in the memecoin voice channel. So if people want to jump in there as well and start chatting about meme coins, that's sick. So we can do that. But yeah, if there's no questions, guys, I'll see you very shortly in the memecoin channel. Thanks for tuning in.